Welcome to Did You Know? The ESCO HVAC Show. We will see you in about 45 seconds or so. Make sure that you are subscribing to our channels, our LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook. Turn on notifications, and we are very excited to be here with you. It's almost time, about 30 more seconds. Make sure to grab your notebook and pen so you can jot down notes along the way, because at the end of the show, you could have an opportunity to ask our guests questions so we can dive a little deeper into these topics. And here we go. Welcome to Did You Know? The ESCO HVAC Show. I like that. Thank you all so much for joining Did You Know? The ESCO HVAC Show. I know things look a little bit different right now. I am actually in Atlanta, Georgia, hanging out at the 2023 Skills USA National Competition. So for those of you who are not familiar with Skills USA, it is an amazing program. It focuses on high school and our vocational students, and it's a competition that is not just like HVAC, refrigeration, electrical. It is so many different skill sets, and it's an honor to be a part of this. So I'll be doing some judging while we're here. Eugene and I are downstairs. Actually, Eugene is somewhere around this area about right now. So this whole section back here is the HVAC challenge area. Variety of different partners from the industry that are participating, donating their time and their resources and supplies to educate our industry, because a lot of things are changing in all aspects of our world, right? And particularly in the way that we approach training in the industry. So one thing that I've witnessed while I'm here is all of the different ways of education that are utilizing some of our, what some would call non-traditional educational paths, right? It's not setting a book in front of you. It may be setting a book in front of you, but using digital resources. So today we're hanging out with Chris Compton. Chris, how are you?
I'm good. Hi.
And Todd Clare, how are you doing, man?
Not too bad.
So friends of the industry, partners that is working with us to help look at all of the resources we have for delivering content. Now, Chris, I would love for you to tell us a little bit, but before we dive into the reason we're all here, I want people to have a little understanding of the amount of work that it takes for virtual style education and how long you have been in that field, because things have changed a lot in the last few years that has made the ability to dive deeper into digital education. So I'd love to hear just a little bit about how that experience has been.
It's been horrible. No.
A learning curve. It's a learning curve for everyone.
Yeah. No. I started this program 27 years ago, just a wee bit ahead of the curve. It's been an interesting ride. Fortunately, a successful ride.
Yep.
The concept of teaching skilled trades over the web on a learning management system took a long time to catch hold.
Yeah.
I can tell you that.
Absolutely.
But it's happened, and we are constantly in the development process because of HVAC is always doing something new.
Right.
Trying to stay ahead of the curve is not an easy project. And it requires a lot of people in the background to support the projects.
Absolutely. And by the way, wherever you're checking in from, let us know in the chat. So keep talking about this community of HVAC. And so I've already seen people out here from Egypt. Hello out there. Thanks for joining in. So let us know where you're chiming in from. We'd love to know where you are. And if you have questions along the way about this new platform, let us know. This is a conversation for us to dive a little bit deeper into this reality of education. So Todd, where do we want to run with this? Where would you like to go?
Well, we got a little bit from Chris, and that's right. That Chris made a good point. As far as the industry, change. You made an point of industry changing. Chris, you know, he was chastised or put down for the online content. Oh, that'll never work. And look,
That'll never catch on.
that'll never catch on. And look where it is today.
It's
And it's
Never.
every no, right. And here we are. And here we are. And when people scrambled during COVID,
Yeah.
well, Chris was already there.
Sure.
So, I was one of the. What we're going to talk about today is the where this interactive training goes, and are
Yep.
you ready? And I was a big advocate with Chris when I came on board. Chris, we need to do this.
Right.
We need to get out in there and present this stuff to the newer generation, the newer technicians, and we've got something very special for you today. So,
Awesome.
shall we?
I think so. Let's dive in a little bit. So we got people in the background that's running this. So we're talking about educational opportunity. We have a little bit of background noise. I mean, we got a lot of things going on here. But let's take a look at what we're talking about. What type of an immersive experience are we looking at? Are we talking about single plane view? How deep are we going into this technology?
Well, this technology specifically is we didn't really go to the true 3D interactive with a headset. We were trying to make it more of a for everyone that has a desktop, a PC, specifically PC right now, and that this platform that we're going to share with you is PC based. We are working on iOS and Apple. That's something we're working on. But right now it's PC, and
Yep.
anybody with a PC computer can do this interactive experience. And it's a new way of training. You don't need fancy equipment.
Awesome. All right. So David back there, are we ready to share?
I should throw out something about Todd.
Yeah.
Before we jump in. Todd just achieved his certified master HVACR educator status
Through HVAC.
as of yesterday.
Congratulations.
CMHE.
Thank you.
Thank you for pointing that out. Very big accomplishment. We've been talking about this for a little while, and it's an extensive path that you've been on, and very, very proud to have you with us, Todd.
It was tough. But it's not a cakewalk. I'll tell you that.
Absolutely. That shows a commitment to education and being involved in the industry.
Indeed.
All right. So let's see where we're at here. And David, are you ready to share a prompt?
Hey guys,
Hey, how's it going?
it's going well, thanks.
All right, so let's
All right.
take a walkthrough of what this experience would look like for a educator, for a student, and a technician.
Okay, I will be turning my camera off to make the streaming smoother, but I will
Okay.
be having my mic on. So.
Okay, fantastic. And we'll give it just a second while the input is loading here, and then I'll get that shared for you all. All right, here we go. And I think, I'll bring us over to the side, and that way we can watch ourselves as we run through this experience. All right, so where are we starting here? So we're going to start on a module, right? So how many modules have we got put into this platform right now?
We currently have.
One.
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, David.
Yeah, we have the leak detection module, which
Yep.
is one of many that we will have. This is just the menu. This will have a login eventually, but right now this is for testing. I will walk you guys through this. But Todd, if you want to elaborate on that.
Well, what we start off with when you walk or come prompted here is a tutorial. Okay, and some of the feedback we got from the beta testing was, hey, it's hard to navigate this for those of us who are 35, 40 plus.
But let's talk about us. Keyboard challenged? Is that what we're saying here, Todd?
Yeah, keyboard challenge
Yeah.
a little bit, but it's interesting. We've had some feedback from those who are Gen Z, so 30
Yes.
years and younger, and they walk right into it, and they don't even need the tutorial because they grew up gaming. These platforms of these individuals that are of the younger generation grew up with this technology and had a quite young age, and they just take off with it.
Right. So it's a gamified version of
It's a gamified.
the information. So let's kind of look through the tutorial and see what we've
Sure,
got.
go for it.
You got it. So we click on tutorial where it's going to open up the interaction tutorial. Prompt
Right.
is welcome to the HVACR interaction tutorial. This tutorial will assist you in learning the basic controls that will facilitate the interactive experience. We click OK. We're not going to go through the whole thing
Okay.
because it's a bit lengthy. It's more for the user to familiarize
To
himself.
get comfortable with each of the pieces, can we take maybe a look at one or two just so we have an idea of what we're going to
Sure.
see?
Sure. We have, for example, here to the left, we have the UI menu. This menu provides you with the information that you can access at any given menu button. So let's click on controls. This is going to come in very handy for anyone who wants to, for example, W here,
Right.
you will move forward, S, move backward. A lot of people will probably be familiar with this setup. A, move left, D, right, and your mouse, just moves yaw, pitch. So let's get rid of this. And
So
we'll be
these are controls that are very familiar to those that are using PC games and using keyboard controls already.
Correct.
Yes.
right. And interaction is pretty simple as well. Like we'll go over it, click on it, you open up your toolbox.
Nice.
Red highlight, you remove and replace panels. Green, you zoom in and zoom out of objects, of items.
Okay.
As well as interaction. For example, with this ladder here, it'll be highlighted green, and you can
Look at that.
here. You fold it back up. Whoops. If you lose your mouse at any time, as you can see on the bottom left, it says M key will toggle it and show your mouse. So click it back.
All right. So it looks very forward, very easy to maneuver.
Yeah, and this is just a tutorial for teaching how to use the tools and navigate. But let's really dive into the exercise itself. And this was a leak detection exercise. The reason why we chose leak detection was it was extensive build,
Right.
and now we have some other things that we're working on and backtracking or backpedaling with some more basic exercises. We built this simulation, and now we can go to the basic stuff. Teach you
Gotcha.
fundamental skills.
And
So
one thing I wanted to point out while we're here too is for everyone that is joining us, we got to remember too that we are playing a player through a player. So this is like just a portion of the quality of the experience. So even though this is going to look really cool, the actual version of it is even going to be more intensified than that. So just put that in your memory as we're walking along, seeing things.
And Clifton speaks to itself. He was one of our beta testers, and he goes, "Wow,
Absolutely.
this is really high definition," and it is. And
Absolutely.
yes, we're streaming through a stream, so therefore it is downgraded a little bit. So it is better in real life, a real person.
Right.
Also, there's no sound due to the feedback. We don't want to have any feedback here. But in real, when you download this, you will have sound. You will hear the units, the AC units, the blower, the birds. We have all that good stuff going on.
Right. Got all the audio effects that goes along that makes it part of an interactive experience.
Right. So we start off here as our service department has dispatched you to residential service call 123 Doge Run Boulevard, Ethos Metaverse. The homeowner states that the air conditioning is not cooling on a hot summer day. The system does not blow cold air out of the supply registers, even though the indoor unit and outdoor unit are operating. So upon arrival, you have made contact with the homeowner, introduce yourself, explain that you are there to repair their HVAC system. And please attempt to diagnose and repair the system. Please determine what the issue is and what or how to repair the system. So we click OK.
Sounds like a realistic call to me. I've had those before.
So we're prompted to proceed to the indoor thermostat and set the system to cool below the ambient room temperature at 60 degrees to ensure that the unit does not satisfy while we perform a diagnosis. So as you can see on the left, the controls button is blinking, which kind of shows you, the basic commands, controls to move. You also find controls for the various tools you will be using. Leak detector, thermometer, psychrometer, voltmeter, they all have their respective controls.
And David, that's a good point. So if you get lost or have trouble anytime in the exercise, you can pull up the controls and you can, kind of give a little cheat sheet how to use those in case you do get lost.
Absolutely. Also, the one very important thing is the mouse. So the M key on your keyboard at any time, as you can see, the little hand disappears and it reappears. So if you want to interact with the UI and you hit M, and you will have this little hand, you'll interact, and then when you're ready to go back, hit M again, and you'll be back in control of your character, or a HVAC technician in this case. So we'll
Okay.
come in here, and we will set in certain, like for example here, the mouse is gone, but when you approach the thermostat, I'm sorry, it'll automatically show for you. So you don't need to hit M in these certain.
Oh, wow.
Kind of
Absolutely.
like a geofencing, right? Right, David?
Yeah.
Right, yeah. So we set this to 60, and
Okay.
then we set this to cool, and the system will ask us, we're prompted to retrieve our toolbox from the HVACR EDU service truck and proceed to the indoor fan coil
Mhm.
unit, the air handler, and verify that the indoor blower motor is operating. So while we're at the at the indoor fan coil, remove the panels to visually verify the type of metering device the unit is equipped with. So we hit OK, and we will retrieve our toolbox from our HVACR truck.
Nice.
Yeah, click to unload indoor toolbox. So we go ahead and we proceed to the inside to our garage. Toolbox magically appears here.
Great.
So here's our blower. So we remove our panels.
So it's identifying the parts that we are going to be going towards.
That's correct.
Removal of the unit panels, which we have done, and have access to indoor coil. What is the type of metering devices? We check that. We can come
Oh,
here
nice.
and we can see visually, or we can also use our ladder here, and we can check our faceplate here. It's a TXB. So we go ahead, thermostatic expansion valve. So we hit M to choose that. And
So what happens if I hit the correct? It's just going to come up, let me know that it's an incorrect selection.
yes,
Correct.
and then you will be given a chance to choose a different.
Select
We evaluate. Okay.
Right. So now with the system running, we check the blower motor amperage and compare to the blower FLA on the air handler nameplate. So please replace the blower panels in order to get an accurate FLA reading from the multimeter. Remember to choose the correct multimeter setting using the V key on your keyboard. Is the indoor blower motor operating within manufacturer specifications? I know this is a lot, and a lot of
Right.
people will probably say, oh man, what do I do next? So
Wait a minute. Hold on now.
yeah, that's where our log comes in. Click here, and it's keeping track of all the prompts.
Oh, okay. So we're keeping our sequential order of
Correct.
what we've already found, basically.
And
Absolutely.
if you get lost, go, oh, what was it? What was the prompt saying?
Yeah.
Oh,
Hold on now. I remember it saying that, but I forgot what the command was. Let me backtrack and take a look real quick.
Yeah.
Okay. Very cool.
So we go and grab our multimeter, and we have to first, let's get our FLA. I guess we can do this here. Our FLA would be 4.1. Let's get a better view of that. So let's replace that. Our FLA is 4.1.
Oh, I like this.
Yep. So we remove our panel again, and let's grab our multimeter.
Uh-huh.
Let's set it to amperage by hitting V. Oh, and now there's no audio, but we
Right.
have visual. You can see that the hand blower is on by, visual. The air is
Right.
moving there.
So we can still get our atmosphere, even if we didn't have audio connected for some reason, but hopefully have audio, because there's a lot of interactive audio that goes along with this.
And that's a
Absolutely.
good point, Clifton. You mentioned that because let's say you're sitting in a doctor's office, you don't want to be interrupting everybody else's, being annoying. Well,
Right.
you can also use a different sense, a visual sense, to see
Yep.
that the blower is running.
Yep. So
Exactly.
we click this green sphere. It means you can snap it to that connection. We put our ladder back, replace our panel, replace this panel, and voila, we have our reading. It's and as you can see, it says value added to data collection sheet.
Right.
So let's see.
So
Proceed.
we're going to use this as a data endpoint or a data point for something else.
Correct.
Yes. So
Now we're
let's
getting somewhere. All right.
proceed to outdoor unit and locate nameplate to determine the system target subcooling and the
Okay.
type of refrigerant. So now we see it's 3.1. Let's click on the screen here, and it puts our tablet away. But if at any time we want to recall those values, you click our data collection sheet, and it's been keeping track of everything. For example,
Wait a minute.
yeah,
Yeah.
So, okay, so we're not just putting it onto a spreadsheet to do some
No,
calculating. So we're actually inputting it. So we have our physical representation of what that measurement was at each point along our entire operating system.
that's right. And Clifton, you make a good point. A lot of times, technicians that work for a company will have their own in-house data collection sheet to fill
Exactly.
out.
Just numbers.
And correct. Whether it's you use it through MeasureQuick and you do it through MeasureQuick, or they have their own in-house one that you
Yeah,
fill up by
absolutely. Seen a lot of that. Yeah.
correct. And so, as we go, we write the stuff down,
Hmm.
and it goes in the archive file.
All right.
So we have our TXV here, our FLAMPS 3.1. It's keeping track of all that. So if we go back out. So it's easy to, forget what the next step was. So proceed to outdoor unit and locate nameplate to determine the system's target subcooling and the type of refrigerant the unit contains. Okay, those are
Sounds
logged.
logical to me.
Yep. And we go back here and we find our nameplate. Here we go. So our metering device, as you can see, you also have that here, metering device TXV. And our piston, this unit is a piston unit.
The outdoor is.
Outdoor for heat pump. Okay.
And we have our subcooling, which is 15 degrees Fahrenheit, as you can see here. And let's go back out. And that's the first question. What is the manufacturer's target subcooling? Well, here's a good example of what you would get if you choose the wrong answers. Is incorrect. Just
Okay.
some will give you feedback,
Right.
if it merits it. So
Some
13,
questions.
it's not. Right. So 15 would be the correct one. So now once we have that, with the TXV or TEV installed at the indoor unit fan coil, air handler, and the manufacturer suggested target subcool, what method of refrigerant charge verification will we use to properly determine the system has proper refrigerant charge?
Love it.
Well, you can choose superheat or subcooling. In this case, we're going to use subcooling.
Mhm.
Correct. So it's going to prompt us to retrieve additional service tools from our toolbox from our HVACR EDU service truck. So,
Okay.
and also we are using, this will also give you the type of refrigerant you're using as well. You can also refer to the chart, which is an R410A chart.
Okay.
So let us continue to our truck, and we're prompted with this. Click to unload outdoor toolbox. Now we have that, and we're prompted to proceed back to the outdoor unit to verify proper refrigerant
Yep.
charge. Check the ambient air psychrometer. Okay, let's come back here. So let's take our psychrometer out. Here it is. And you can put this away by just clicking on it. And
Okay.
then you can access it again by hitting it up here. Now you can see it appears here.
Oh, okay. So it's a tool that we pulled out. It's now part of our arsenal of our
Yes.
tool supply. Okay.
Right. So now we get to check the condensing temperature to ensure that it is higher than the ambient air temperature. So if there is little to no temperature difference from ambient to condenser outlet, condenser over ambient COA, this is a possible adequate system refrigerant charge. Is a condenser over ambient within 10 to 30 degrees Fahrenheit? No. Higher system efficiency, the less COA should be observed during proper performance, and the lower system efficiency, a greater COA should be observed during proper performance. So we hit M, we choose our psychrometer, and as you can see, it's ambient temperature 90 degrees, and now it changes to 97. So it's getting our COA. So we put this away, and now this prompt says, check compressor amperage and compare to the compressor RLA on the nameplate. Remember to choose the correct multimeter setting using the V key on your keyboard. Is the outdoor unit operating within manufacturer's specifications? Okay, so now we have to check our nameplate for one more value.
Sounds like a good task.
Yeah, and that RLA is 24.40. It's compressor RLA. So with that in mind, we can grab our
Move our
multimeter.
cover plate.
Yep, remove our cover plate. Turn this with our G key, because G or J, move it around, and we'll zoom in by clicking on this green highlight. We select amps with the V key, and we click here. And it's 15 amps. As you can see, value added to data collection shows here, so it has been added. RLA amps for our compressor is 15. So that's also a value that has been
Now, Clifton, and
Yeah.
I want to make point this. If you haven't recognized, a lot of these values are off from what manufacturers spec. RLA, well, the FLA was decent, okay, but the RLA, some of these other things you're going to find, the COA was under, under 10 degrees, right? It was
Right.
7. And our RLA here is quite low for what manufacturers spec. All these things are adding up, and they're collecting in our data collection, going, what's wrong with the system?
Yeah, I see inputs here that may be going through some kind of a processor for some kind of an output. Oh boy. Okay.
Maybe.
Maybe.
So with that, let's click OK. Using the infrared thermometer, check the compressor shell temperature. 180 degrees Fahrenheit or greater is too high. It's the outdoor unit compressor overheating more than 180. So we click OK, and now we click M to regain our mouse, and we click here, and we can put this away, our multimeter, by pressing P on the keyboard.
Put it back up.
Yep, and then we click here. We're back in control of our technician, and now we try our thermometer.
Our IR. I love this.
We click on our compressor. As you can see, we remove this panel by clicking on it. It's highlighted.
Right. Yeah.
And we can replace it. So let's remove it and click on the compressor, and our camera will zoom in. And now, in case we check it again, we can
just watch your fingers.
We can use our mouse wheel, or we can physically grab this here and pat up and scroll. So we're going to check the compressor shell temperature. Now we can put this away. A log, and aim it down. As you can see, the laser, it's pointing at the shell, and it's 180 degrees, so it's a little hot. Again, using the infrared thermometer, check the discharge line from compressor. 180 degrees Fahrenheit or greater is too high. It's the outdoor unit discharge line exiting the compressor too hot, more than 180 degrees. So we click OK, and our discharge line is up there. We align this, and we move it up a little, and it's 200 degrees. So, yeah,
a little hot.
Yeah.
Right.
So with that, we can click P, and we put our thermometer away. Click on the compressor, replace this panel, and then we can continue to.
So we're getting commands, and we're doing measurements, and we're really functioning like we're in front of the unit, and we have someone on the phone instructing us through if we're not 100% sure what we should be doing for each one of these steps.
That's right. And that's the beauty of, like say Measure Quick or some of the others, is that, hey, if you're new to the industry, like what's your service manager going to ask? Oh, send me a screenshot of what your readings are.
Exactly.
You need the data in order to figure out what's wrong with it, and we are collecting data.
Right.
To make a determination what's wrong with the system.
Okay.
Right. So after we do that, we're prompted to use our tools to measure and determine system actual subcooling. What is the actual system subcooling? And using the given formula, it's the system with an acceptable refrigerant charge. So our liquid saturation temperature minus our liquid line temperature would give us our actual system subcooling. So using a plus or minus 3 degree Fahrenheit difference from the target subcooling from outdoor unit nameplate, is the system charged properly? So we go ahead, as you can see, you don't have sound here, but
right.
In the actual module, you will, but you can see visually that the unit is on because the fan is spinning. So we will be turning the unit off in the next few steps. So we click on our digital gauges, and we can click on the screen here to zoom in and out, pressure, line saturation, liquid line temperature, and our subcooling. This is automatically calculated. So let's do that. Let's take our measurement. We click here, our connection, our fitting, and we click on the shell of the unit, and we click here to take our temperature. And as you can see, the value has been added to the data collection.
Okay.
We click on this fitting here, our liquid line. Click again, remove our Schrader valve cap, snap this And as you can see, value added to data collection. So although we have determined that we verify refrigerant charge with subcooling method with an installed TXV or TEV, we should verify that the TXV, TEV is maintaining system superheat. To verify superheat, measure the suction line temperature, and utilizing the superheat chart provided, use the following formula to determine actual superheat. So remember, suction line temperature minus suction saturation temperature will give us our actual system superheat. So using a plus or minus 5 degree Fahrenheit from the target superheat from the chart, is the system charged properly? If the system has less than ideal actual system superheat, typically less than 5 degrees, the system risks refrigerant floodback. If the actual measured system superheat is significantly more than 30 degrees, the compressor could overheat due to too little refrigerant returning to the compressor, example, undercharge or restriction. So I would like to point this out. If we zoom in here, we have our liquid saturation and our liquid line temperature. So 50 minus 40 will give us our subcool, which is 10 degrees.
Okay.
Which is less than 15 degree manufacturer specifications. So something's wrong with the unit, but let's go ahead and run our saturation line here, our suction line here.
Suction line, yeah.
Map this here, and it's 42 degrees. You can zoom in here. So auto calculates the superheat once we get our pressure. So remove our Schrader valve cap, snap it in, and our value has been added to the collection. So as you can see here, calculates our superheat is 13. And if you want, you have our pressures here, and you can also click data collection, and everything will be here. 94, 29, 42, everything is calculated.
I love that.
Yeah, and upon determining and verifying refrigerant charge, what is determined? The system is properly charged, not likely. System overcharge, I think is a better answer. The system is undercharged, so that would be correct. And now we're prompted with this question is, upon a verification of the system being undercharged, what is likely the cause and what is the next step to repair the system? Now, these have some feedback, like let's click A, the system is undercharged and nothing is required. Incorrect. Well, that's feedback. The system is undercharged. The technician should add refrigerant to the system to obtain proper refrigerant charge. Okay, this might not be the ones with the feedback, but the system is undercharged due to a possible refrigerant leak. Refrigerant should be added to obtain proper refrigerant charge. Let's click that. Incorrect. And let's try this one. The system is undercharged due to a possible refrigerant leak. A proper leak inspection will be performed to verify if there is a leak in the system. And that's correct. Let's go on to the next one. So now we're up to this step is visually look and or identify any oil residue at indoor coil, outdoor coil, or any place between on, as this may indicate a possible refrigerant leak location. Visually inspect the entire refrigerant circuit, looking for any other possible issues like ice or any other visual indications.
So you've embedded a lot of really good tips along the way. So not just procedures, but diagnostic tips and opportunities.
And that's right. And it's like these are things you should be looking for when you're doing this diagnostic.
Yeah.
So what we want the student, want the learner to, hey, yeah, we know it's a leak detection exercise. Obviously, we're going to find out that it's got a leak, but these are the steps and procedures you should be doing. When, hey, what's wrong with the system? Why is it undercharged? Why do I have a low RLA?
Yeah,
running low downs.
Yeah, we're not just adjusting charge; we're actually going and diving in and starting the process.
Yeah, especially with the way we're all 608, we need to fix these charts.
Exactly right.
These leaks.
Proper procedure right here.
Yep. So now that we have that, we're going to proceed to the next step. But let's clean up a little here, so we have organized working space here.
Yeah.
So proceed to the toolbox and retrieve your electronic refrigerant leak detector and soap bubble solution. Okay, so we'll head to that. But let's finish up our cleanup really quickly here, and we replace our straight up valve caps by clicking on them, place and replace. Okay, now we have a clean working space. So with this done, determine or verify if there is a system refrigerant leak by using the electronic leak detector at either the indoor unit, outdoor unit, or any other place between the indoor unit and outdoor unit. Example, refrigerant line set. If oil residue was found, this is likely the location of the leak. However, it is wise to check any other locations regardless if it's visually present or not. If no oil film found, shut down the system and use the electronic leak detector to locate the general proximity of the leak. Zero out and calibrate the leak detector and its sensitivity. This leak detector automatically adjusts the sensitivity. So I will look around and you see if I find anything in the system.
Nice.
So we'll go inside.
And while you're doing that, I had one comment that came through. So Jamie was asking about the URL. Jamie, it's probably because it popped up on the Facebook feed. It might not have been on your YouTube feed. So we have multiple channels going on right now. So I'm going to put that in here at the bottom.
Yeah.
So if you want to copy that down.
We're also going to provide you, Jamie, with a URL, or not a URL, but a QR code too. And while David's looking, around the house for these leaks, we're also going to, have some giveaways and.
Ooh, all right.
We'll talk more about that. So stay tuned.
Absolutely. So here's the landing page for that. So if you want to take your phone and grab a picture of it, or if you're on your PC, you could screenshot and come back and grab that later. And that will get you over to the landing page for this interactive opportunity.
Awesome. So I didn't find any residue or oil in any of our pipes, but that doesn't mean there is no leak. So we have to look. So zero out or calibrate the leak detector and its sensitivity. This leak detector automatically adjusts the sensitivity, and we will sniff the lower portions of the condensing unit, sniff the lower portions of the indoor evaporator unit, and sniff all accessible copper line locations. Okay.
Sounds good to me.
For all intents and purposes, David, let's work on the outdoor unit.
Sure.
That's where it's going to be.
Yep. So we grab our lead, click on it, and you will it'll calibrate automatically. It's finished calibrating, and the controls for this are very similar to the movements. The only thing that changes is Q will be down, E will be
low rep rates.
So, and if you still need more direction, you can always come here. Here it is. And you have all the movements.
So you can tilt and pan and maneuver.
And tilt too. Yes.
Yep.
Look at that. So very lifelike.
Yep. And you need to refine search for approximate leak location. So you have a visual here. The lights are it might be hard to see, but the lights are it's blinking here. And
okay.
When we get close, there's no audio here, but in the actual module you'll hear blinking. So as you can see here, I can see the lights, and this is
somewhere at the service valves is where we're looking at.
Yep. No, nothing here, and here starts blinking. So that might be a possible location. So we press P on our keyboard, and it brings us back. Okay. It beeped at that location. So upon locating the approximate leak locations with the electronic leak detector, utilize the soap bubble solution to pinpoint the leak location. Okay.
Absolutely.
So we hit M on our keyboard to regain our mouse, and here's our spray bottle. And here we go. As the controls for the multimeter.
Right.
Yep. Except that the space bar allows you to spray the solution.
Spray this.
So once you get comfortable with any of the maneuverability, it's going to duplicate into any of the other tools. Yeah.
Right. Yep. And there's also bounds to this. So if you try to go up or out of bounds of this, you're confined. So for those explorers out there that want to,
can't go to the neighbor's house and hang out.
Yeah, it'll be a little different.
We were dispatched to the neighbor's house.
So we go here and we can spray it a few times, see if we get anything here. If we don't get anything, and there it is. Soap bubbles.
Oh, look at that!
And again, for those of you on this view, it's actually better, more realistic.
Oh yeah, we're not even probably coming through on maybe 720 right now, and then our frame rate's going to be very slow. So very significant difference. And I have a video that we can play towards the end if we have enough time that can go back and show a little bit higher definition version of this. Maybe we can do that later.
Yep. So I shut the unit down because you want to measure for leaks with the leak detector while the unit is off. So as you can see,
we don't want the turbulent there.
Yeah. So as you can see, the unit is off. So does the soap bubble solution bubble and help locate or pinpoint the refrigerant leak. If we click no, it'll just ask us to keep searching. But yes,
Absolutely.
we found. And so proceed to the next step. Now we're going to be asked run through a few questions. Upon locating any, please answer the following questions to determine the solution to the service call and repair. Okay. What likely caused the system to be undercharged? Here's where the feedback comes in.
I think the
Nice.
feedback's here.
Yeah, poor craftsmanship during the original system installation. Let's click that.
No, there's never poor craftsmanship.
We never find that in the industry. Kidding. Not in
That's not-
residential.
We could go with B. The system was not charged properly since the installation date or from a previous service. Okay, possible, but there's a better answer. Remember, we found and observed. Therefore, a refrigerant leak could have developed since installation and or past service. Okay.
I mean, how many times, Cliff, have you well seen, on new installs, specifically new installs or track homes, open the valves and go? Well, that's a possibility on B.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. So that leaves us with C. A system leak was observed, which we did, and the leak repair is necessary prior to adding refrigerant to the system to obtain proper refrigerant charge. Click C.
Right.
Correct. Adding refrigerant to a refrigerant system should not be performed without proper leak identification and or repair. Okay. So it brings us to our next question.
Wow.
Since the system refrigerant leak was identified, what would be the next step to repair the system if approved by the building owner? Well, we could use JB Weld or some other industrial strength glue to repair the leak to avoid refrigerant recovery. Let's choose
I've
that.
seen it.
A. It's gotta be A.
I've seen it.
That's the feedback you're going to get for that one. Let's go with B. Recover the system refrigerant and weigh the system charge back into the system. Try again. Recovering the refrigerant will not repair the leak.
Yeah.
Let's try C. Recover the system refrigerant, repair the leak, weigh the system charge back into the system, and verify and adjust refrigerant charge with superheat and or supercool methods appropriately. So, not quite right. There's a better answer. Besides refrigerant recovery, a leak check and proper vacuum procedures must be performed prior to adding refrigerant to the system.
And no, Mike B. Gorilla Glue won't work.
Yep. So E will leave
Yeah.
us with recover the system refrigerant, repair the leak, system, obtain proper vacuum, weigh the system charge back into the system, and verify and adjust refrigerant charge with superheat and supercool.
I love how you put options in here so that it makes you think about the different potential repairs that you could do and then sort through them.
Yeah, and you on some of these you miss a step. It's like, well, yes, but not 100% right.
Exactly. You could do this if you chose to, but are you really getting to the solution?
Right.
Proper solution.
Right.
Choose that, and it's not quite right. There is a better answer. Besides refrigerant recovery and a proper vacuum, a leak check must be performed prior to adding refrigerant to the system. So I went through all the wrong ones, so you can see how there's feedback, helpful feedback on why
Very helpful.
wrong. So this is the correct one. Recover the system refrigerant, repair the leak, perform a leak check, standing pressure test, evacuate it, obtain proper vacuum, weigh the system charge back into the system, and verify and adjust refrigerant charge with superheat and or supercool methods appropriately. Correct. Remember, for proper leak repair, recovery, leak repair, repairs, pressure test, evacuation, dehydration are essential before refrigerant is added or introduced back into the refrigerant system. So we click
Absolutely.
OK. And this brings us to our final prompt. Make contact with customer or building owner and explain your observations and seek approval to fix or repair the system. The homeowner, building owner approves your service repair and they schedule the service tech for a return visit. End of exercise.
Wow.
Ta-da.
All right.
Yeah.
I like it.
Let's turn the unit back on. Let's not forget that. So we click
Okay.
here and the unit will
Watch
start
the
right.
fan will come back on. It's like normal.
Right. Okay.
That's it.
Done a very good job here, everyone. Thank you so much.
Now, just for those of you, and I'm not putting David down. Yes, he's not actually a service technician, so super cool and super heat method. I understand. He's not a true HVAC. He's a programmer. So
That's right.
Yeah.
get with him.
But you did a very good job, David.
Yes, he did.
Thank
walking
you.
through
He
everything.
did a great job.
Bang up
Yeah.
job.
So, Chris, this is quite the evolution of technology and a significant growth from where things have been in the past. So, what is the envision for this? Where do you see this technology being launched in the industry?
Well, I see I see interactive simulations like this. I see them very handy to establish a sequence of operation, just like we did with this leak check. Um, it's not the actual hands-on issue, but it gets people into the sequence. Step one, step two, step three, etc. Where when they encounter the situation in the field, they'll just go right to it.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
they've exercised this sequence. Yeah.
Can you imagine? Oh, go ahead.
It's like riding a bike. You go through the process and the motions, and it's comes second nature.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So you have the opportunity to fail a few times potentially, and before you find the correct process. And once you find that correct process, now it's repeatable, and so the solution becomes scalable.
And I want to build on
Yes.
something Chris just mentioned about the interactive opportunity here. One thing that's online education has always been kind of put down was, especially for CTE, career technical education, was the lack of the hands-on. Well,
Yeah.
this is bridging that gap. Yes, it's not true hands-on, but it's that next leap forward to tie that knot.
It's worth doing. Otherwise, you could have a tech go out and screw up 5 or 10 customers' systems and finally get it right. This way, they can get it right without costing anybody money.
Yeah, exactly.
Or have the manufacturers, on the other hand, warranted parts that aren't really warranted. They don't need it. They didn't need to be warranted.
Right. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, so here's an opportunity for any questions from the audience. We have a lot of people hanging on. So there's a lot of people interested in what we're discussing. So let's take a minute. Sometimes it takes a tad bit for people to enter messages in on the social media networks and then bring into our studio. So I'll give it just a second. Let's talk about what kind of special hardware and software would be needed to run this very elaborate program.
There's not much needed except for your basic PC. If it's it's pretty a couple of years old, it's going to be very capable of running this. You don't need fancy hardware. You don't need a gaming computer. You don't need a VR headset. You got your keyboard, your mouse, and its computer's a couple years old. It's going to work just fine. Now, if you had something that was 10, 20 years old, well, that might be a different story.
Yeah, absolutely. And for everyone out there, this is just like a step. So we're doing our live version. I'll go back and clean this up and have it available on YouTube, and HVACR EDU will have their own native version of it as well. So there'll be plenty of opportunities to come back and go through this walkthrough. But remember, don't forget about your link to get you over to the landing page so you can start your own venture in this process.
And I want to
Yeah, go ahead.
And I want to talk about, Clifton, is if you click on this, if you go to that landing page, there is a Clifton. Can you go to the landing page for us? There is a opportunity for. I'd love to have Chris Benedict, if he's here, come chime in on the BioFi, the Bitcoin. We're going to select several individuals. I think it was 5 individuals. If you download this and utilize this, you'll be entered in a drawing for a how much BioFi, Chris?
Hey Todd, thanks for bringing me in. We're going to select randomly 5 people to win $100 in our BioFi token. So all you need to do is download the leak detection module, and you're eligible for that.
That's right. As well as some discounts for in HVACR store as well.
Absolutely. Not to undersell that. With 10% off of classes, right, Todd? That is a great deal.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I did want to tie in BioFi with us, and they were the ones that helped us integrate this.
Nice.
Yeah,
fantastic job.
David is a member of the BioFi team. So
David is. BioFi Interactive is part of our company, Finovant, and it is our interactive and metaverse, if you will, but our interactive end of the business, where we bring this technology to education efforts. And we have had, Clifton, if I could just say, we've had just a great time working with Chris, Todd, and the entire team at HVACR. They are true professionals, and their focus is on bringing great customer service to the people who take their classes. So it's been a pleasure to work with them, focused on delivering great education and servicing whatever their students need.
That's why we're here. Industry partners that are putting effort into educating an industry in a variety of different formats. So it takes a village to raise this entire community. And so it's something that we all have our pieces and our parts to do. And this is just an additional layer of education and the delivery of education that is vital for especially our younger generation of learners.
That's right.
Absolutely. And I think I need to have David come up to my house. We don't live that far apart from each other, and check my unit out. It's a little bit warm. So I think now, instead of just a developer, I think he's got another job ahead of him.
And you make mention, of taking a village and partnership in the industry. And let's not forget that HVACR and ESCO and HVAC's Excellence have a great partnership as well.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, when we had this opportunity to talk about training, it's like, let's bring it on. We've been doing lots of things together over the years. This is one more opportunity to just expand the offerings to our students, to our educators, to our contractors.
So I encourage everybody to take a look at that, download it, enter to select for the Bitcoin, the BioFi Bitcoin, as well as the discount code for anything in our store as well. Take a look at it. Let us know.
We want.
What, Chris?
We want people playing. We want people playing with that interaction.
Yes.
Interactivity. They have a 2-week play time with it. If you go to the site and download it, have at it. Very interested in feedback as well.
Yeah, please do.
On that point, and it mentions it in the landing page. It's a 2-week trial. So as soon as you download it, an internal clock comes on, so it's free for 2 weeks. You can play with it, use it how you like.
Okay. I know, Todd, you were asking if I could bring and show the landing page for that. So yes. I have already kicked out my Outlook, so I can't grab any codes from that. But David, you're still here. If there's any chance of you grabbing that on a second monitor and bringing up where that landing page is, we can re-show that just as easy.
Yeah, if you have that availability, David, that'd be great.
Yeah, let me get on that right now.
Okay.
And as David's bringing that up, the Finovant team and us, we released a press release as well. I believe the press release is in the landing page, if I recall right. So we were on Yahoo Finance as well. Correct, Chris?
That's correct. It's been picked up by almost 600 outlets at this point. So it's really getting good reception and picked up around the world.
Across the globe, yes. Yeah. Not just stateside.
Right, absolutely. Oh yeah, you think about the ways that you can educate a world with digital education
and from afar. I mean,
we've been doing that. We've taught technicians at many embassies around the world. We have scholarship programs that people take advantage of. I think. One of my favorite stories is Mike Burns, who actually pushed me into this situation. Mike Burns was one of our students, a very voracious student, who was serving at McMurdo Station in Antarctica about 10, 12 years ago.
Oh, wow. And
he started taking our program, and he just took one class after another while he was in Antarctica, which I thought was amazing. Here we are.
And a good
we
point
have somebody
with that,
in Antarctica.
And a good point with that. Across the globe. I mean, I'm in Germany right now, but across the globe, it's interactive, being able to do it anywhere, and the convenience. I mean, we're bridging that gap from not just the content and the course delivery, but the hands-on. Chris likes to call it the mouse on. It's not quite hands-on.
It's mouse on. It's mouse on. Not hands on.
I love that. Yeah,
Me,
your
what-
hand is on a
yeah,
mouse is on a PC.
Was David ever David able to find that landing page? Because I don't have a dual monitor, so I can't bring it up. But looks like Karina or HVACR EDU.net put it in the chat. So feel free to click on that. Take it to the landing page again. But all the details are there.
Awesome. All right. Fantastic content, everyone. We thank you so much for this.
Did
What
we
do you think?
have your comments?
Do I?
Has any Q&A come in, Clifton?
No, I've been hopping out here. It's mainly just praise for what you guys are doing, and haven't had any questions going forward. There was just one from Bryce that just had Windows exclamation. So, what platforms does this work on? Let's talk about that real quick.
I kind of made mention of that already, and that was right now we're focused on Windows PC.
Yep.
With the coming in with Apple. Apple's
Yep.
been a little difficult to deal with.
Okay.
And iOS. Problem with Android is that their content limits you to about 500 megabytes. So
right.
you really have to you basically have to degrade the content.
Right, which you don't want to do.
Yeah, and so we're gonna focus on iOS. So your tablet, a tablet and phone. Okay. Next, but right now this is available on PC, and there you go. There's the landing page. So all the information's in there. Feel free to download, use the link that's there, and get busy.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, we are doing perfect on timing. So, Chris, Todd, you guys have anything you'd like to cover before we hop out of here?
I'm good, but I think a chat just came in. I can't really read it from where I'm at.
So, asking, all right. So, how many courses are we talking in the future?
Chris?
A bunch,
I could imagine.
just a bunch.
Yeah.
Working on it.
We want to cover. We want to cover the basic service tasks
Yeah.
First.
going forward. But then, the sky's the limit for what you can do.
It actually makes me think back a little bit. Your original concept, wasn't it part of like a town or a village?
That's right.
Yes. Yeah, that's an ugly story. About 10, 12 years ago, we built a village. We built different houses with different types of systems. We had a grocery store. We had a van with all the tools and stuff in it.
Right. Boy.
And it operated the same way as, with the same controls as this. It was beautiful. And then at the time, it's been 10, 12 years ago, you needed a player.
Right, exactly.
I should have asked about that. I should have asked about that first.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, nobody would sell me a player. So that was a crash. And
those players were several $1 million, right, Chris?
Right.
Yes, they were. Yep. Sort of shut me down.
And the
now
home PCs were probably not ready either.
Yeah, and a home PC, you have a player today,
Exactly.
and it's a couple $100.
Yeah. Yeah.
Look at the way technology has
right.
grown. And I see a chat came in from Mike B. Yes, that's our plan. That's our goal, is truck ready. Get that technician, get them trained and ready to get in that truck and let them loose.
Get them comfortable. Absolutely.
And not make mistakes.
Yeah.
We all make mistakes. Let's limit them.
I would much rather have the opportunity to find them digitally before you do them physically.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds like a
they're
good
a lot
slogan.
cheaper. They're a little cheaper.
That's right. All right. Well, we are.
And one of the benefits is they can always go take it again.
Yeah.
They can take the course and go review anytime if they get a little rusty.
Exactly. Nothing like
That's
hitting
right.
treasures.
That's right.
All right, we are right on the 1 hour mark. I really
Bingo.
appreciate time hanging out today, everyone, and I could see some future follow-up shows down the road. Have a feeling this is a long, fun partnership.
We already have had a long partnership with us.
It really has, and it's just a continuation of
True.
good things.
Indeed.
All right. Well, we thank
Yes,
you
sir.
all for joining us. We look forward to seeing you next week on Did You Know, the ESCO HVAC show. And you want to see us all together? I imagine you'll probably find us all hanging out at the 2024 National HVACR Education Conference.
That's right.
All right, everyone.
Probably.
I bet we will.
Thanks,
All right.
everyone.
I want to say thank you, everybody, and thank you, Clifton, for having us.
Love to be here and hang out
Yeah,
with you
thank
all.
you.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks,
All right.
everyone. Great to be part of the team.
Thanks.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye-bye.